Hello and welcome to our digital media day for the 2020-21 men's basketball season. I'm joined by head coach David Greer and redshirt junior guard Darian Owens-White. We'll start with you, Darian. After missing last season due to injury, and then this season being what it is, talk about the desire to get back out on the court for you.
It's I'm very ready to get back on the court because, like you just said, I missed all that time. And then what we're going through now within this pandemic, it's out of our control. So just got to keep the motivation. So my motivation is high. I'm ready to get back.
Talk about some of the ways that you've been handling this off season in terms of getting time on the court, your schoolwork, working out. How has it been for you? Have you taken to it, or has it been a kind of a challenge?
No, it hasn't been a challenge that much. Only challenges Only challenges I've been having is really being on the court with my teammates. Other than that, I can do my homework at home, sitting here by myself, or I can just go to the gym when it's open by myself. But yeah, so it hasn't been a challenge at all, really.
This roster has some serious scoring potential and some firepower and a lot of depth. What are you most excited in terms of this team when you look up and down the roster?
Just playing with those guys, being out there on the court with those guys. The past 2 years since I've been at Wayne State, it's been rocky, injuries, not enough players on the roster, stuff like that. So this season we stack, and I can't wait.
Talk about maybe coming into a leadership role this year. You're an upperclassman now. What are some of your goals as a leader for yourself and maybe some team goals?
Some goals for myself is just finding a way to lead positive. Cause like we got new guys that don't know the system. They don't know how Coach Greer is, and he expect me to let them guys know. So I just gotta find a way to do that positive. Cause when the team mess up, he gonna look at the point guard. So I just gotta. That's probably my only goal for myself. And then a goal for the team is just being on the same page, doing what Coach Greer wants us to do.
Talk a little bit about what the schedule will present. You're playing teams back-to-back nights. It's a little bit like NBA playoffs, a little tournament. Talk about maybe some of the advantages and disadvantages you see as a player, maybe a strategy that you might have day one, day two.
Those two games playing that same team, that might be tough for us on a mental level because we got young guys, freshmen. But I think it's a good challenge for us. We need challenges like that early because of what we're going through now. We can't practice with each other. Just stuff like that. It's gonna be a challenge, but we'll be able to get through it. I'm ready for it, and I have my team ready for it.
All right, you're off the hot seat, David. Your turn. The roster really played hard last season, overachieved, but they were kind of outgunned at times late in games. Talk about what you were most happy with from the team last season before we move ahead to this season.
Really, I thought they competed really well. I thought Kareem Murray did a good job of providing some leadership. He ended up getting hurt for the majority of that year, but other than him, the roster was really new. It's a couple freshmen and Keelan and Nate, and James was new to the program. Braylon was new to the program, so we just had a lot of new bodies out there. Antonio Marshall and Kareem were really the only guys with some experience, and obviously losing Darian, the point guard, was really difficult. But I thought they competed. We were in a lot of ball games, that came down to the last couple of minutes. And, it's funny, we got the GLIAC rules that said the minimum amount of players that you can play with. So we were accustomed to playing with, 7 or 8 players last year. So hopefully we'll have a few more bodies this year and be able to compete at a higher level.
Discuss what this offseason's been like for you. Getting time on the court's been a challenge, but I think that would make the time that you do get a little bit more valuable. What has this offseason been like for you?
It's really been frustrating because we do have some new bodies, and really you do need to practice and try to get better and try to gel together as a team. But, everybody's going through the same thing. It's going to be a challenging season, but everybody's got to go through the same things. The main thing we're trying to do is try not to get anybody hurt, make sure that we are able to compete and play the games that, are on the schedule.
Speaking of that schedule, perfect transition. what are your thoughts on the schedule? The GLIAC's always a grind, but this will definitely be more of a grind with those back-to-back games.
Well, it is, but for safety measures, that's about the best you can do from that standpoint. But it'll be challenging because if you win 2 games on the road, that'll be great. But if you lose 2 back-to-back home games, that's really challenging right there. Or if you beat a team the first night, now you got to turn around and play them the second night on their home floor or at home. It'll be really challenging. Like I said, a lot of come down to Darian and Braylon, what kind of leadership those guys provide. But, unlike a tournament, even in a tournament, you don't play the same team back to back. So you're playing the same team back to back. But, from a preparation standpoint, it'll be pretty easy because you know what's coming and you just have to prepare for one team a week.
The roster is the largest it's been in a while. We've talked about that. Definitely has some scoring potential. Talk about some of the expectations for your team. Obviously, your calling card's always been defense, but it looks like there's some definite scoring potential on this roster.
Yeah, it is. Braylon was one of the top scorers last year. Obviously, Darian, before he got hurt the year before, he was one of the top scorers in the league. So just from a backcourt alone standpoint, that those guys will be able to score the basketball. But hopefully Avery Lewis and Jackson Harris, those guys got the ability to stretch defenses and play inside, outside. And Antonio Marshall, I think he's about ready to take a big jump. He's athletic wing, can get out and run. And obviously Keelan and Nate, those guys were freshmen last year. So hopefully those guys will be ready to take a big jump. Nate struggled a little bit on the inside last year, but he's got the ability to finish. And Keelan's a really athletic player. And we got a couple freshmen that we think that are going to be able to step in and contribute a little bit. Nothing else, just from a defensive standpoint.
You touched on it a little bit, but that backcourt, that's a Division I backcourt. Talk a little bit about your hopes for Braylon and Darian. It's quite the 1-2 punch. I know you have to be excited about that.
I am, but really they're both point guards though, so that's the problem. But Darian does a great job of playing without the basketball. He doesn't have to have it all the time. Braylon's a little bit more accustomed to playing with the basketball, but those guys do a great job. Either one can handle the ball, either one can play the 1 or the 2. They're both pretty good 3-point shooters. We were a little small, so one of them was going to have to rebound, but Darian does a good job of rebounding, and they both should be really, really good on the defensive end.
I'll wrap up with this. Coming up on your 20th season with the Warriors, that's quite the accomplishment. Will this season be a little bit more rewarding than some others in terms of what we've been through? And to wrap up, kind of talk about what keeps you motivated to come into the office every day and step out onto the court.
Well, I enjoy working with young people and, seeing them be able to accomplish some of their goals, whether it be academically, athletically, and watching them grow as young men is a real joy to me. And I'm happy to say that I play a part in that. But, just being able to get out there on the court, obviously we're going to try to, stay within the parameters of safety and try to let these young men have some kind of season. I saw football got their season canceled. Baseball and the spring sports didn't get a chance to play last year. So just for them to have an opportunity to play is rewarding. But, thanks to all the people that have, put forth the great effort to even get us to this point to be able to even have an opportunity to play.
All right, guys, thanks for the time. I appreciate it. And under 30 days until that first tip-off. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Cam.